Imagine living next to Cristiano Ronaldo, the world's most famous footballer. You'd think it'd be a dream come true. But for one quiet American neighborhood, his arrival was the beginning of their worst nightmare. No one could have imagined that the world's most famous footballer would ever move into their quiet suburban neighborhood. Yet, one bright morning, a moving truck pulled up in front of the Maplewood HOA community, and out stepped Cristiano Ronaldo himself. The neighbors froze, jaws dropping, phones in hand. For a moment, everyone forgot about the HOA rules, the monthly meetings, and the endless complaints. It was as if the entire town had won the lottery. Ronaldo smiled politely, waving to a few stunned residents as he carried his gym bags inside. He'd come to the U.S. to enjoy peace and privacy, far from stadium lights and screaming fans. But peace was the one thing the Maplewood HOA would never allow. At first, everything seemed fine. He planted new trees in his yard, renovated the backyard into a personal training area, and even set up small goals for his kids to play. But 3 days later, the first HOA notice arrived, taped to his gate like a scarlet letter. Violation: unauthorized modification to landscaping. Please remove trees within 72 hours. Ronaldo stared at the paper, half smiling in disbelief. He just spent thousands making the yard beautiful, better than any other house on the block. Still, he didn't want trouble. So, he trimmed everything neatly, hoping it would end there. But it didn't. A week later, another notice came, this time for noise disturbance. The so-called noise was his daily training sessions. Even though he practiced quietly, someone kept filing complaints. Soon, whispers spread across the neighborhood. Some residents were jealous. Others wanted selfies. But a few wanted him gone. And those few controlled the HOA. One evening, as Ronaldo returned from a charity event, he found a crowd gathered outside his gate. The HOA president, Linda Harris, stood in front, arms crossed, clipboard in hand. "Mr. Ronaldo," she said sharply, "your goalposts are a violation of community policy. You'll need to remove them immediately." Ronaldo took a deep breath, keeping his composure. "They're for my children," he said softly. "It's just football." Linda's eyes narrowed. "Rules are rules," she replied coldly. "Even for celebrities." Ronaldo didn't argue. But as he looked around at the watching faces, some sympathetic, others amused, he knew this wasn't the end. This was just the beginning of his battle with the most controlling HOA in America. Days turned into weeks, and the tension between Ronaldo and the HOA only grew stronger. The more he tried to follow their endless rules, the more violations appeared at his mailbox. They fined him for leaving his trash cans out for 10 minutes too long. They fined him for parking his sports car too close to the curb. They even fined him for having too many visitors. Even though those visitors were kids from the local soccer team he coached for free. At first, Ronaldo stayed calm. He thought it was just a misunderstanding, maybe even jealousy. But then, one morning, he woke up to find his backyard training setup dismantled. Cones, nets, and equipment gone. There was a note taped to his door. "Removed due to repeated violations. Property of the HOA until fines are paid." That was the moment he realized this wasn't about rules anymore. It was personal. Ronaldo decided to fight back, not with anger, but with evidence. He began recording everything. Meetings, phone calls, every letter that showed up at his mailbox. Neighbors started talking, too. Turns out, he wasn't the only one being targeted. An elderly woman had her flowers uprooted because they didn't match the community color scheme. A young couple was fined for parking in their own driveway. And now, Ronaldo, the world's biggest athlete, was their newest victim. He decided to call a neighborhood meeting. Dozens showed up, frustrated and tired of being bullied by the HOA board. When Ronaldo stood before them, his calm voice carried more power than any speech they'd ever heard. "We follow rules to create harmony," he said. "But when rules become weapons, we must stand together." That night, the community united behind him. They signed a petition demanding transparency from the HOA. But the board didn't take it well. The next morning, police cars showed up outside Ronaldo's house. Someone had reported disturbance of peace during the meeting. Linda Harris, the HOA president, stood smirking as officers approached. "See," she said, Even fame doesn't put you above the law. Ronaldo looked her straight in the eyes. I'm not above the law, he replied. I'm just not beneath you. The officers quickly realized the situation was nonsense and left. But the damage was done. The war between Ronaldo and the HOA was now public. News outlets started to pick up the story. Headlines spread across social media. Cristiano Ronaldo battles HOA in American suburb. The world was watching, and the HOA had no idea how badly that spotlight was about to burn them. Weeks passed, and the battle between Ronaldo and the HOA became the talk of the town. Reporters camped outside the gated neighborhood, cameras flashing every time Ronaldo stepped outside. But he didn't hide. He smiled, waved, and went about his routine, training, helping neighbors, and quietly gathering proof. Meanwhile, Linda Harris and her board were falling apart. They sent legal notices, raised fees, and even shut down the community gym to cover administrative costs. But the residents had had enough. They weren't scared anymore, not after seeing Ronaldo stand his ground. Behind the scenes, Ronaldo's attorney built a case, thick with documents, photos, and recordings. Every forged signature, every unfair fine, every dollar that mysteriously disappeared from HOA accounts. It was all there. Then came the day that would change everything. The community meeting opened to all homeowners. A sea of angry residents filled the room, whispering, waiting, hoping. And then Ronaldo stood up. He wasn't just a football star now. He was their voice. Where I come from, he began, we fight on the field. We win with effort. But here, this HOA is playing a dirty game, and we're done playing defense. Gasps filled the room. Linda tried to interrupt, but Ronaldo raised his hand. He projected images on the screen, proof of the HOA president's corruption, emails showing deals with contractors, receipts linking her husband to inflated landscaping contracts, even surveillance footage of HOA staff removing items from Ronaldo's property late at night. The room erupted. Police officers in the back stepped forward. Linda tried to speak, but her voice cracked as she was escorted out of the building. The HOA was officially under investigation. Ronaldo had done what no one thought possible. He had taken down a corrupt board and restored his community's peace. Outside the hall, reporters swarmed. A journalist shouted, "Ronaldo, what made you fight this battle?" He smiled. "Football teaches you discipline," he said, "but life teaches you courage. No one should be bullied, not even by their own neighborhood." That clip went viral. Millions watched as Ronaldo's words echoed across screens worldwide, not just as a story about an HOA, but as a story about standing up when the odds are stacked against you. Weeks later, the new board was elected, fair, transparent, and accountable. The neighbors thanked Ronaldo, but he just laughed. "I just wanted to train in peace," he said. "Didn't think I'd end up coaching justice instead." The camera fades on Ronaldo walking across the field near his house. The sun setting behind him, football under his arm, peace finally restored. And then one final line, "In life, every game ends with a whistle. But the real victory is doing what's right."